There's a moment in August where you quietly stop recognizing yourself. And no, it's not because of your summer tan, but you wake up and you feel slightly misaligned. You hear your tone of voice as you speak, and it doesn't quite feel like yours. You lead and you feel a hesitation that you can't quite explain. It's subtle, it's internal, and it's most definitely identity level. August is this month where your identity enters what we call liminal space. It's the in between. And then you're asked to lead from a version of yourself that isn't fully formed yet. And that is uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. You know, you don't realize how much of your identity shifts seasonally until August arrives. Well, maybe you do, but August definitely puts a certain point on it because summer you is expansive, it's flexible, it's outward facing. Summer you is this awesome, emotionally porous kind of person. But fall, well, it requires something different, right? It requires clarity and direction and groundedness and decisiveness. That's a fun word. And also internal coherence. And your identity, it knows this before your mind actually does. So in August, your identity begins to dissolve. And it's not because you're lost, but because you're transitioning. You're shedding the version of yourself that absolutely can't lead you into fall. Liminal space is uncomfortable because it's honest. It's that moment where your old identity is a little too small, but your new identity is a little too quiet still. Your current identity may very well be too unstable because you're not who you were and you're not who you're becoming, but you're somewhere in the middle. And in the middle, well, that's where your leadership becomes real. It's not polished, it's not performative, it's not rehearsed. It's super real. Because in liminal space, you can't rely on the identity that you use to perform. You have to rely on the identity that you're actually starting to become. And this is the part that many leaders misunderstand. You're not supposed to feel fully aligned in August. You're supposed to feel slightly off and quiet and unsure and slower and softer because your identity is reorganizing itself and your nervous system is recalibrating and your emotional availability is starting to shift. So your leadership tone is changing while your internal world is rearranging itself. But the great news is you're not malfunctioning. You are transitioning. And a transition, yeah, well, that always feels like misalignment. Here's the truth. You communicate best when your identity is settled. But in August, your identity is not settled. So you have to lead from something deeper than identity. You have to lead from presence, from congruence, from honesty, from internal pacing, and from emotional accuracy. This isn't a clarity. It's not a certainty. It's not a performance. It is accuracy. Accurate leadership is leadership that reflects your internal state. It's not the identity that you actually think you're supposed to have. The identity that's emerging in you is quieter than your summer identity, but it is also steadier. It's more grounded. It's more discerning. It's more intentional, and it's much more aligned. And it's the identity that can lead you through the fall. But it's not loud yet. It's not quite confident enough yet. And it's not fully accessible yet because it's still forming. So August is the forming month. And your job isn't to force clarity. Your job is to create some space for clarity. Your job isn't to perform your identity. Your job is to inhabit identity. Your job isn't to accelerate the transition. Your job is to honor it. The leader you are in August is not the leader you're going to become in September. But the leader you are in August matters because this version of you listens more deeply. It speaks more intentionally. It feels more honestly. And it leads more humanly. And most importantly, it connects more authentically. This version of you is the bridge. It's the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. It's the bridge between summer and fall. It's the bridge between external leadership and internal leadership. It's the version of you that is the most honest version of you. And honesty is the foundation of healthy leadership. So look, if you feel off in August, you are not broken, and you're certainly not alone, but you are between identities. You're dissolving that version of you that actually can't lead into the fall. And you're still forming that version of you that can. Liminal space is, and always will be, uncomfortable. But it is also sacred because it's the only place where identity becomes real. So if this spoke to you, I want you to write down the version of yourself that you can feel emerging, even if it's just one sentence, because identity becomes real the moment you give it language. And on that note, I hope this was helpful.